Philippians chapter 2, verse 14, Paul writes, "Do all things without complaining and disputing." This is quite an inconvenient verse when you think about it, because we all love to complain. I myself love to have a good moan and groan about things sometimes. Sometimes I realize I'll do things, but only after I've let out my little bit of frustration, not too happy with the fact of why things happen that way or the fact that I have to do something. We love to complain. We love to just tell someone else that things are not going our way. We find it really hard sometimes just to keep quiet. And even in our hearts, sometimes we can find ourselves doing things and inside we're complaining about it. We're maybe frustrated why we have to do it, why things are going like that. We can be people that really like to complain sometimes. But we realize when we read this verse where Paul says, "Do all things without complaining and disputing." And when we look at Paul's life, we can see that Paul knew what it meant to follow Jesus from his heart, go through what he needed to go through, experience the things that he needed to experience, serve and do the things sometimes that were enjoyable, sometimes that weren't enjoyable at all. But to do all these things with a heart that was content and accepting in every situation. To do all things without complaining. It doesn't say do a few things. It doesn't say do most things. It says do all things without complaining and disputing. How we really need to let the cross of Jesus Christ come and touch our hearts and give us a tender heart where we can learn to do things out of the goodness of our hearts without complaining, accepting situations, being content in all situations, and learn to do things without complaining. Sometimes this verse can be so inconvenient, such a short verse, such a small verse, and yet it's a verse that shows the attitudes of our hearts so well. Let's know that Jesus went to the cross like a lamb led to the slaughter, without once complaining. Let's rely on the grace of God to become more like Jesus and do all things without complaining.